Hi, I'm Elizabeth Cantey, and this is another episode of Living Enlightened Every Day. Today we are exploring the question, do your thoughts create your reality? Let's find out. So today we're exploring how or even if our thoughts create our reality. And that's because I get this question quite a lot. Am are my thoughts creating my reality? Sometimes I get, do thoughts create reality? Sometimes I get all kinds of different ways of kind of saying the same thing, but it's a little different. So my answer's different sometimes. When we're talking about reality with a capital R, no, thoughts don't create reality. Reality is that which was never born, it will never die. It is changeless, formless, eternal, timeless, spaceless. It is what is. It is isness. And so that never changes. It is sometimes called God, spirit. It is infinite possibilities. It is unconditioned love. It is peace. It is all that there is, and it is no thingness or the void or zero in Ho'oponopono. And so when we are able to think of it like that, do our thoughts create reality? No, reality is. So when we're talking about, and I do have been a lot lately because I have had a lot of thoughts coming into um, my awareness. I am aware of my thoughts, that which is aware of these thoughts that are coming across the screen of my mind. And of course, even as I say that, it's not like thoughts are different than the screen of my mind. And it's not like the spacious awareness that I am is different than the thoughts. It's oneness, but it's only a way of being able to talk about it with you guys, right? It's, otherwise, we would all sit in silence, and that would be lovely. That would be awesome and amazing. But somewhere there's a question, do my thoughts create my reality? Do thoughts create reality? So, going back to my little image of, for me, thoughts have been coming in lately that I haven't been thinking of because, well, thoughts of relationship, being in relationship. I haven't been in a partnership in quite a while. Before that, my son was sick for a long time and he was in high school, and then just getting him into college, and now he's happy and healthy. It's I haven't had the thoughts that come from being in a new or a constant relationship, living with someone, being a partner, a best friend, all of those things. So the memories of things that had happened to me in other relationships, the things that happened to me in my past, the things that happened to me as a child, the way I saw my parents in relationship, or when they in their divorce and in their other relationships, the way I see my siblings and all of these things, my friends in relationships and in divorce and separation, and all the different things that have accumulated in my life that I don't think of consciously. But some of them at different times in my life made a huge impression on me, how I live and behave in the world. And if it made me uncomfortable as a child, let's say, if it made me not understand, not have clarity, then I could have pushed it down. I could have just, my ego protects me by saying, let's not deal with this now. Let's go eat ice cream. That's what my 5-year-old would say. Ice cream, sure. And so thoughts, ideas, memories, some things get, I will call squashed, pushed down because the ego, that part of our um, thought system, wants to think that it's separate from those bad feelings, and it can help us by removing them, but they're never really removed. They're sitting there in the background humming, running the program, let's say. And so as we get into new situations, new events, new circumstances, when we change our job, if our relationship changes, with our children or our spouse, things may come up that are not necessarily well known. Maybe they were forgotten, but it's still running these programs. So it's so good to be aware of things that are happening differently in our lives. We can just notice, wow, I'm having these thoughts, anger, jealousy, loneliness, whatever it is, feeling small, feeling not seen, whatever we have, and then we can do a couple of things about it. One, we can say, where is this coming from? That I'm not a big fan of that, but I understand that some of our logical minds want to sort of dig around and have a sense of it so that they can bless it and let it go, things like that. I totally get that, and I have that instinct with certain things, but other things, I can just feel this welling up in me of whether it's anger, jealousy, or comparison or judgment. And I may not know where it came from, but I know it's here now. This is what I'm feeling. This is what's coming up. And there's a thought process behind it that says, he did this, they did that. I don't like it when he does this or they do that. So I can feel these thoughts come up. And oftentimes I can feel or sense that they have come up before, again and again, meaning this isn't the first time I've ever felt like that, right? So I might have this history, and it might take me back to other times in my life where I felt like that. Now, on the surface, that doesn't sound bad, right? It's not terrible. It sounds like, we're exploring. So there's no bad, there's no good, there's no right, there's no wrong. But being aware means that I get to see sort of something coming and welling up inside me like a wave, about to crash on the shore. And I can just feel it. I can see it. I can sense it in its wholeness. I can sense um, the, let's call it the uh, legitimacy, let's say, the factual evidence of where this comes from, that it's a history of feeling less than or not enough. And I can recognize that that is who I am now. I feel not enough. Or I can recognize that that's something that I used to feel, but it's coming up now. It's coming up again. It's challenging my wholeness, my sense of wholeness, my sense of integrity with spirit, mind, and body. It's like, oh, I am enough. I know myself. I know that I am unlimited, eternal. I am the changeless and the timeless and the spaceless. I am love. Therefore, there is no lack within me, but this feeling of lack that I'm bringing through this history of circumstances and memories and beliefs and ideas of what it should look like or could look like, or I really want it to look like. Um, I can just see that play. It's like a play. It's just like a drama that's taking place on the stage of my wonderful mind. And now for me, what I do is I bless all the characters. If it's a memory, if it's something between, my parents, or um another relationship, or in high school, in grade school, these things that came up and made me feel like, I shouldn't say they made me feel that way, but I allowed them to the feelings that I felt then, I allowed it to define who I was. Like, I feel small, I must not be enough, I don't feel like I'm worthy, or I have enough, or I'm lovable. So any of those things, I'll say all of those things, come up, and we think that, and I'll use me, I thought that is who I am. That was my identity for many years. And it was, of course, not a huge part of my identity, but it was always there. It's like an arm or a leg or a hand. It's there. It was part of my identity until I learned how to find out the truth of my being, the essence, the essential nature of who I am. And it begins with the ideas of anything that we can take away from ourselves that isn't essential to our nature, to our being, then that isn't essential to who I am. So I look at who am I, and I'm clearly not my body, since this isn't the body I had when I was 2 or 12, or 22. So I recognize that this body reinvents itself and does its thing, and I don't have to identify with any particular part of it. If I did, as my body would, uh, you know, change, I would lose a part of myself. But I am that which realizes that I have been the same me since I was 2 or 12 or 22. And then I can go with the sensations in my body, what I'm feeling. It's definitely sitting in this chair. Or even if I was sitting in this chair for 12 hours, it wouldn't be the same sensation. I would be moving around and shifting and changing. And so the sensations would change. They come and they go. So they don't define us, they don't make us who we are. But sometimes we can attach to sensations in our body, that we have migraines, or we have this situation, or we have this condition, we have this dis-ease, and we identify it with it. We can identify with it. Or we can say, this is something that happened to me, or that I experienced for a time, or whatever it is. And we realize it came and it went. It wasn't always the essential part of who I am. So that's sensations. And then it comes to thoughts, right? I am not the thoughts that I think. I'm aware of thinking. I'm aware of thoughts as they come up. And for my book, the Living Enlightened, the joy of integrating spirit, mind, and body, I did some research. I was thinking about our thoughts, how many thoughts we think during the day. And of course, there's too many differing opinions to really quote, but I think I landed on something like 60,000. And out of those 60,000 thoughts, I think something like 90% are repetitive, meaning we have a lot of habits that we have brought with us. So now we're getting back to the subject of today, the do our thoughts create reality? Well, when we have these repetitive thoughts that have become habits, so they become the things that we do without thinking, then we are energetic beings, and we are creating what we've always created with the redundancy of our thoughts and our thinking, our tendencies, our idiosyncrasies, is as how other people would call them. We can say it's my Enneagram. It's my emotional quotient on my Enneagram. It's my Myers-Briggs score. It's this, or it's that I always do that, or that I never do that. So now we're getting into sort of the meat of Do my thoughts create my reality? So reality is, we're not creating reality with thoughts. Thinking is, it's mind. It's the activity of spirit as mind and body. Thinking is. And when we allow ourselves to be in our natural state of being, which is in this spacious awareness of peace and love and joy with no thought, and then the thoughts arise as an activity of consciousness, as an activity of presence, as an activity of spirit, those thoughts are usually inspired. There's something that just, maybe it's a clear understanding of love or what we've been doing in a relationship. Maybe it's a clear understanding of how to help our child or help ourselves with our dis-ease. Maybe it's just a thought of beauty or some beautiful moment we're reliving for a second. It just brings a smile to our face. Maybe someone we saw earlier in the day that was just beautiful, some beautiful scene or something. So all of those thoughts are coming from this space of uh, who we essentially are, our nature, the infinite possibilities. So thinking is a beautiful thing when it is inspired thought, and a lot of times there's just um, fun in that. There's inspiration, there's clarity, there's joy. Sometimes it's an insight as to why some relationship isn't working, or something that's, we've been battling with for a while. And we get an insight. Ah, that's what that is. I can let that go now. Ah, that's, you just love the clarity that comes in those moments. And for the rest of the time, what's happening? Well, I'm going to quote, it's been actually, this quote has been attributed to so many people, so I don't know honestly who said it. I think it's been attributed to Mahatma Gandhi and Buddha, and I don't know who else, but so many people. And it probably is, in its iterations, a form of almost every mystic tradition. So I'll read it. Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. So, on that level, we're being told by some of the greatest spiritual, mystic, and leaders and teachers, yes, your thoughts are creating the life that you are living in this world of effects. So that would be, the repetitive thinking that is coming from usually those old programs that, at least for me, they are about self-worth and not being worthy and not feeling like I am enough, not feeling like I was good enough to make the cheerleading squad, or I was smart enough to make the advanced classes, or I was fast enough to make the first team relay. Whatever it is, and then we had those experiences as a child, and if our parents weren't really adept at handling them, which I don't know whose parents are, but it wasn't me or mine. But it's like trying, they get to be part of who I think that I am. And therefore, that begins to become my words, even if I don't say them out loud. If I don't get the promotion, I think, what was I thinking? I was never going to get that promotion because I don't have enough education. I didn't have enough training. I missed my opportunity last summer when I was out for a month with COVID. It's like we will fill in all the reasons why we aren't good enough, or that couldn't have happened. And those are almost always from these programs that we're playing. So that's why I am such a huge advocate And I really enjoy finding new ways and new ideas of really releasing thoughts as they come up when they're not serving me. And like I said, the only time for me that it feels like my thoughts are really serving me, that like they're really fun and inspiring and I'm going to say the word sincere. I don't know how a thought can be sincere, but it feels deep. It feels connected to source when it's fresh. It's a new idea and it just feels exhilarating. But the old ideas, I'm not enough, I don't have enough, I can't be enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough. Um, those aren't serving anyone, and especially ourselves. And so they are our words, even when they're unspoken, even though we would never say to someone, I'm not good enough. We could have that thought that's alive, it's living in our mind, and we just push it down again. We push it down. And then these words become our actions. Well, maybe I just don't apply for the next position. Maybe I just don't apply the next time because I don't have the the faith in myself that the same thing won't happen. So now I'm in this repetitive pattern and I'm in my mind creating that it's going to repeat in my future. So they affect my actions, these thoughts. They become our habits. At some point, we all know people who just seem to shrink right before our very eyes. They just get smaller and smaller. Their world seems to just get smaller as they try to control everything in their world so that it makes them feel good. They're not open, they're not exposing themselves to life with the knowledge that there is nothing out there that can hurt me. There's no weapons of destruction you can make that can take anything away from who I am. So those are two very different points of view. The contraction into trying to control things so that I feel better about myself all the time. And Mickey Singer's made a living writing wonderful books about this. Uh, the Untethered Soul and the Surrender Experiment, just beautiful books. He has a new one out now. But it's this idea of just contracting and controlling and, protecting ourselves because of these programs that are running in the background, sometimes even in the foreground. And it's the difference between just saying, I know who I am, unlimited, unbounded. I have never been born. I will never die. There's nothing that can hurt me. So why not go for it? Why not? Put myself out there. If I fail, I fail. If I am wrong, I'm wrong. If I could do better, I will. Because I can see it. I'm not projecting this failure or this fall or this mistake onto the future because I've got a clean slate, relatively clean as I can get it right now. And then if I added another experience, I clean that up. I clean it off. I start again. That's like that being born every minute of every day, born again. That means being born without those limiting ideas about ourselves. And it doesn't mean we don't have physical limits or mental limits. I mean, I'm not a math whiz. I'm not going to start being one tomorrow because I have no interest in it. Really, if I wanted to, maybe I could tap into my untapped source of mathematical genius. But I really have no interest. That's not my game. So that's we may have physical limits, but that doesn't limit who we are. Who we are has never been limited by any of our physicalities, by any of our mental handicaps, by any of we're just not limited beings. We are not limited. We are unlimited. We are eternal and timeless. So that is what makes us open to new situations and to feel that sense of joy and awe and wonder like a child at new situations. And it's being born again in the next moment. It's letting go of the past. It's letting go of how we thought we were treated or how we thought things were. And they're proving now that the way many of us, and I probably should say all of us, but the way most of us remember things anyway, isn't how they actually happened. Like one time, my son, we were driving home from the beach and we just had to go around this corner. And right as we went around the corner, I remembered I left my cell phone on the bumper of the SUV. And so we ran out of the corner. I'm like, oh, I bet it's there. And I turned around and went and looked for it. And it was right when I remembered that I had left that cell phone on the bumper of the SUV. And my son was probably about 4. And it wasn't quite in the middle of the intersection where I would have liked my phone to have fallen if I had a choice. But it was in this very awkward place, but him being 4, and he was very precocious 4 or 5-year-old. You never knew what was gonna happen with that one, you know? It's like he might sit and stay, he might run, he might, do a dance and leap for joy. I never knew. And so I was thinking out loud, should I bring you with me? Would you sit here and watch mommy as I go into the intersection? Would you let me go get my phone? You'd be really safe here. And I just realized as he's staring up at me, it's like, no. So I took his hand and we went into the intersection, picked up my phone and walked back on the light. It was a busy intersection, but people could see me. And so he told the story probably 4 years after that, when he's 8 or 9 years old. He told the story that I made him go into an intersection to go get my phone. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? That's what you remember? And of course, it only took a second for me to say, "You know me. I'm just one step away from being a helicopter mom. Like, you think I'm gonna send you out into a street to pick up my phone?" And he just looked at me and he was like, "Yeah, you would never do that ever." And I probably wouldn't let him do it when he was 20, you know? And it's just like he just thought, "Wow, like where did he get that memory?" It was a piece of what had happened, but not even close to what happened. So now we're starting to realize how that, child mind held on to things and squished things and transmuted things, and how, as an adult, we can really just embrace the beauty of our ego, of our finite mind, the wholeness of oneness that we are, and we can step into the essential nature of our being, the truth of our being, that we are spirit, emanations of God, and allow that stuff, it's just thought. It's just words that became actions, that became habits that we believe are ingrained on our character, and therefore we are projecting our destiny onto this thing we call the future. So yes, that can happen. If we Buddha said, if we don't change what we're doing, we will get to where we're going. It's like if you don't change course, that's where you're going to go. You're heading right there. Keep doing exactly what you're doing. That's where you're going to go. If you're depressed, if you're angry, if you're upset with the world, if you're upset with the weather, if you're upset with the car that broke down in the driveway, or the fact you don't have one right now, it's like you're just going to keep being upset. Just keep being upset and be upset at the next thing and be upset at the next thing. Most people who are like that, they don't wonder why they're upset all the time. They know why. They can tell you why. They can give you the litany of reasons why they're upset all the time, right? But someone else going through the same, walking in those same shoes would see beauty or grace or love or joy or peace, or at least they would just be in the moment, allowing what is to be. And that would be their destiny, is being free in a moment to experience what was present in that moment. A smile, a glimpse, a raindrop, a snowflake, whatever it is. So there. Have I helped that at all? Do thoughts create reality? No. Reality with a capital R is. It's the isness of being. It's life living itself always. Life is the unchanging essence. It is. But how it shows up as us, these wonderful, interesting characters, these bodies and minds and personalities, that if we hold on to what is lacking and limitation, in other words, the things that are not true of our essential nature, if we hold on to them as um, thoughts, words, actions, habits, character, then yes, we're creating that destiny. And the same is true in the what I would say is like a beginning stage of spiritual investigation, and that is change your thoughts. Change your thoughts. If you are one of those people who's, always has a hard time waking up on weekdays because you know you're going to work and you're not happy with work and you're not happy with the car and you're not happy with your lunch and you're not happy with the air conditioning and you're not happy with the heat, like hmm, notice the things that you're resisting that just are. That's the way it is in that building, the air conditioning. That's the way it is. And the car, unless you win lotto tonight, uh, the car is going to be the same car you wake up and go to work in the next day. So maybe you do a gratitude practice, maybe some idea for forgiveness comes up, maybe just resting in spirit through meditation comes up. In other words, change your thoughts, change your life. Yes. So in that sense, our thoughts are creating how we're feeling as we're living this life. And when we are free from thoughts, when we are able to experience the moment truly as it is, it's magnificent. It's it's free. It's love. It's always available. But as the thoughts come and say, "No, you didn't get this. No, that didn't happen." Resistance creeps in. I love you, resistance. You were a friend of mine from a long time ago, but I'm good. I'm good. I'm not resisting. This is happening. It's not making me comfortable, but it's happening. I'm going to be present to it. I'll be present to it. And as I'm present to it, guess what happens? There's another eternal moment and the next one. And we start living instead of this horizontal line of time unfolding, we start living in this vertical place of peace, love, joy, abundance. And we are living from our authentic self, the true nature of our being. Does that mean things won't happen that break our hearts, shatter us? I always say the hurricanes come, the weather comes, the storms come, but it doesn't have to move us off our beingness. It's not resisting, surrendering the thoughts of not enough and lack as they come. I surrender that thought. I rest in my wholeness. I surrender that thought. I rest in being. I surrender that thought of lack or limitation, and I recognize that spirit is all that there is, infinite possibilities, unlimited opportunities. That's good. That's good. So don't believe everything you think. Change what you're thinking. And as a way of living enlightened, just be with what is and no thought. and allow inspiration to rise up and inspire you into the next thought, the next moment, the next conversation, the next piece of art or music. Mm, that's living enlightened every day. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, hit like. You can hit subscribe and be notified of the next podcasts as they come up. And share it with a friend. Maybe they're wondering if their thoughts are creating their reality. Now you have the answer. Let me know your thoughts about this, and I hope you laugh, love, and live enlightened every single day.